morning, everyone. Welcome to our Ask the Experts series with SmithLife Homecare. My name is Kathleen McGinnis, and I'm Director of Community Relations with SmithLife Homecare. Today, we're here with our guest, Dr. Emily Shoemaker of VaccineValet, whom I'll introduce in just a few moments. SmithLife Homecare's Ask the Experts series focuses on providing valuable information and resources to our community, helping them age in place wherever that may be. We're excited today to discuss the many ways VaccineValet is providing many older adults in Maryland with door-to-door support and vaccine resources. We now want to introduce and welcome one of our partners in care and a new social media partner, Dr. Emily Shoemaker. Emily, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Well, thank you. I am too, and I'm very excited. When I discovered your services about 8 months ago, I thought it was a fabulous idea, and I'm happy to have the opportunity to tell our community at large. First, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you get here?
Yes, I am a Florida native who went to school in Georgia, where I did my undergraduate studies in biology and went on to achieve my doctorate in pharmacy. And I came to the DC area to do my postgraduate or postdoctorate residency training at Children's National Medical Center. And I just stayed in the area, and coming up next year, almost 20 years of pharmacy manager experience, as well as now a business owner.
Well, that's terrific. We're so glad that you decided to stay in this area. And our next question is, can you tell us a little more about what the business model is of VaccineValet?
Well, VaccineValet is a mobile vaccination pharmacy that provides vaccine administration services in your home or office.
Mm-hmm. And when you say vaccine services, can you tell us a little more about what kind of services and vaccines that you offer?
Yes, all vaccines, mainly in addition to the COVID vaccine and boosters, flu vaccines, pneumonia, shingles, tetanus, and other vaccines are available upon request, for example, travel vaccines.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And are these vaccines the same one that I find in my primary care doctor's office or at CVS, or is this some kind of different vaccine?
They're the same ones that you would find at your doctor's or at your traditional pharmacy. When possible, I order directly from the manufacturers that produce the vaccines. So it is a more direct acquisition of the vaccines.
That is so cool. I've worked with you a few times, and particularly in the heart of the COVID issue or whatever. I had families who, were fairly isolated, and they wanted to have their, vaccines done at home. So it's a great service. So are these services covered by insurance?
For Medicare B beneficiaries, all pneumonia, flu, COVID, and hepatitis B vaccines are covered at 100% for their beneficiaries. As a Medicare B provider, I filed those claims on their behalf. So there are no out-of-pocket expenses for those services at the time of my visit.
Excellent. And then for travel vaccines, my son works for a organization and travels internationally a lot. So if he wanted to get a series of shots for Africa or the Congo, he could call you and you would go to his home or office, and you could do 2 or 3 people at his office, potentially?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Mhm.
ma'am.
Okay.
And so yes.
And is there a travel fee when you go to someone's home in Maryland? Is it the same travel fee in Potomac or Darnestown or Chevy Chase?
For Montgomery and Prince George's counties, it is a $50 trip charge for an individual. If there are more than one persons in the household that are receiving vaccination administration services, it would be $35 per person. Outside of Prince George's and Montgomery counties, I encourage to call because it does vary after that.
Okay. So a family of 4, hypothetically 2 adults and a 16-year-old and a 13-year-old, could all get whatever vaccines they needed for their destination, or they could all get a flu shot from you, right?
Yes.
And that would be 4 travel charges, $50 and 3 times 35 for the travel fee, right?
So it would just be $35 per person. For
Okay.
the travel fee, it would just be $35 per person. So it would be 4 times $35.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, that's good to know. Um, Next question is, do you provide medication reconciliation for individuals?
Yes, I can help individuals whether they're returning from the hospital, returning home from the hospital. I can help kind of smooth that transition with making sure that the regimens that they are coming home from the hospital on are consistent with what they've either been on, or clarify um, any medications that may still be lingering from their regimen that they were on prior to the admission to the hospital, as well as work with their physicians to come up with like an optimal medication regimen for them. And I can also work with the patient to help them develop a schedule, a medication schedule that is complementary to what their daily routines are. For example, if a medication is to be taken with food or is to be taken at bedtime, you would just, uh, obviously, though I would help them with the timing, whether it's at dinner or taking it at bedtime, and having some kind of reminder set up for them to increase their compliance with those medications.
That is great. That's such an important, I think, underused service in our community. In the many informational lectures that I've sat in on at Sibley Hospital, Suburban, and others, the transition from the hospital to a rehab and then back home, all of these medications, go from the primary doctor to the hospital, and doctors have terrible handwriting, and sometimes people misread the information. We discovered at a medication reconciliation that my husband was taking 2 blood pressure medications, both different names, but he had been taking them. So actually, he was double dosing himself for 3 years.
Oh.
So you can find out a lot of valuable information. And what's the cost of that medication reconciliation, Emily?
It will vary, and actually, this is something that is fairly new that I'm going to be providing. So it is going to be it's to be determined, because obviously, depending it's variable depending on how many medications they're on, um, how complex the medical picture is, and how much contact is needed with the physician. And it's going to probably be on a case by case basis. So it's really hard for me to say it's this much, like I have with the vaccines.
Got it. Great. Good to know. So we are getting close to the end of our time on the program here. So can you tell us how somebody would sign up for your services? What's your phone number? What's your website address?
Sure. Yes, you can make appointments via my website at vaccinevalet.com. I can also be reached by phone, and I'm happy to walk through that process with you. My phone number is 240-277-4892. Or you're welcome to email me at emily@vaccinevalet.com.
Excellent. So they just and is there like an optimum time in advance? They need to call you a week in advance, or can you show up tomorrow, or that just depend?
Usually, yeah. Ideally 48 hours ahead if possible. I mean, um, there are instances where I've been able to do it, day before. But if you do have a time constraint, or a limited time frame as to when you need these services, obviously emailing me or giving me a call would be the best way to facilitate that appointment.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Emily, Dr. Shoemaker, for being with us today. We really appreciate you, and I think it's a terrific service to offer to the community at large. For SmithLife Homecare's part, we'd like to say thank you to our viewers for tuning in today. You can reach us at SmithLife Homecare at 301-816-5020. And we do serve Montgomery County and Washington, D.C. for over 22 years, and we're partners in care with Charles E. Smith Life Communities campus, which is a 38-acre campus in Rockville, Maryland. And they've been a trusted provider of older adult care for over 100 years. So we're in good company. We also want you to know that we have many short-term discharge packages where you can have a professional caregiver, for instance, for 5 hours to pick you up when you're discharged from the hospital, bring you home, get you settled in, cup of soup, pat on the head, get you in your jammies, and off they go. So that's a $135 package that is well used in this community, especially for people with colonoscopy appointments and they just don't have family members nearby or don't want to ask their family members. So we appreciate all of you for being here today and joining us. Thank you, and we'll see you again in 2022 on Ask the Expert. Bye.